Hello, friends, and welcome back to Reiki Women Podcasts, where we are having conversations with Reiki women from across the world and uplifting the stories of our community so that we can learn more about each other and each other's practices and this journey that we're on together. So today I am joined by Gail Christie of Joyful Living Reiki, and she's going to share with us a little bit about what drew her to the system of Reiki, some of the twists on her journey into this work. And I really look forward to having a bit of a conversation with you about that, Gail. Thanks so much for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah.
My favorite subject, Reiki.
Definitely. Yeah. So why don't you go ahead and share with us what is at the top of your heart when you consider your journey, that invisible thread that led you to the system of Reiki?
Well, when I first experienced Reiki, which was just 10 years ago, I found it to be the perfect combination of spiritual connection and compassionate action. I've been searching for this my whole life. Even as a child, I wondered why the peace and joy and spiritual connection I felt for an hour each week in church or Sunday school didn't last. And at that time, I also felt like I was supposed to be helping people heal. But of course, I didn't have a technique for doing that. I was just compelled to be compassionate with everyone, my friends, my family, and in time, my children. And still, I was exploring. I explored various spiritual paths, energy healing, types of meditation. And it wasn't until I had my first Reiki session, or 3 Reiki sessions in very quick order, that it was a revelation to find that this healing technique could heal on all levels. My first session was a mental emotional issue, my second a physical issue, my third spiritual connection that I really had not expected, but it was just amazing. So having had those Reiki sessions and being so impressed with what Reiki could do, I thought, this must be really complicated. I don't think I could ever learn this. How does anyone learn to do this? But I found that when a friend of mine suggested that I take Reiki, and my daughter-in-law 2 days later said, I'm taking Reiki, want to take it with me? I took my first Reiki class. And I kind of was looking for what I was going to do next with my life. And I had decided to volunteer for hospice. And that's when my friend said, take Reiki, it'll help you with your hospice work. And between offering Reiki to hospice patients and to basically anybody who would sit still for it, my friends and family, I found it just so beautifully, gently powerful. And it had those elements of love and compassion that had been my life's purpose. I'm so excited that I have been blessed with this opportunity to share it with other people.
Yeah, I love that. A couple of things that stood out from what you're sharing. One, that experience of the the depth of it, and then the assumption that this must be complicated, right? And then discovering, oh, there's actually a really elegant simplicity to it, right? And that,
Yes.
I know that really resonates with my experience, is that there's this really beautiful simplicity about the system, and at the same time, this gateway into such depth. There's almost a paradox there, that I find really lovely. So I loved hearing that show up in your story. And the other piece that really stood out to me, and I wonder if you would want to say a little bit more about this, was the way in which compassion felt like the opening. Like you mentioned, even as a child, feeling that you were drawn to helping people, and that the gateway wasn't necessarily the religious experiences you were having, but it was compassion as this bedrock, as this entryway. And I wonder if there's anything more that this just comes up for you around that piece.
Well, the impulse or the direction I felt to help people heal, of course, I was a child. What did I know? But I was always the one there for any other child in need, any other child who was left out. It just was a a direction that I felt that I had to supply that I had to be the one to help include other people.
Yeah.
Even when I was feeling left out, I was very shy, actually. And, being able to be there for other people and to understand what they were going through. I mean, I always tried to understand, if someone had a disability, what was that like? How can I help? And, I'm now at a grown-up level of doing exactly the same thing that I was doing as a child, but with the amazing gift of Reiki. And I think that Reiki is a gift, is something that I treasure and I like to impress on my students, is that all you need to do to learn Reiki is to intend to take a class and then attend. And Reiki energy will do the rest.
Yeah.
Which it was amazing discovery for me, because when I took the master level, I had no intention of teaching. I just wanted to be a better Reiki practitioner. And then someone asked me about a month later, "Oh, you're a Reiki master. Do you teach?" And it was like, I guess I do. No, I didn't say that. But I thought that. And Reiki did the rest. Reiki taught the class.
Yeah. You mentioned that one of the entry points, or one of the openings that showed up when you were contemplating learning Reiki, was your work with hospice. And I wonder if there's anything else you'd like to share about the intersection of those two things, and whether or not you did bring Reiki into that work, and maybe a little bit about what that experience was like.
Well, as a volunteer for hospice, and I decided to volunteer because I wasn't sure where my path of being a healer was supposed to be. And I thought, well, my conviction that life is ongoing, whether the physical body is ongoing or not, would make it possible and comfortable for me to be with people who are in the last days and months of their lives. And then I was able, within a very short time, had finished my Reiki 1 and 2 training, I was able to give them Reiki healing. While I was sitting with them, talking to them, not necessarily a formal Reiki session, but just being Reiki and sharing it with them. And it seemed to make a big difference to them. and their anxiety about their condition, which seems to be pretty frequent. And it just helped to smooth that out.
Yeah. Yeah. I would imagine that it also impacted your ability to be present and compassionate inside of that experience. Yeah.
Yes, it was very helpful. And I had the very surprisingly good experience with the very first person I saw in hospice as he improved his condition with the medical care he was getting and the Reiki he was getting. He graduated from hospice and went on to live another 5 years.
Oh, wow.
And I can't offer that as this is what happens with Reiki in hospice, but it was a very nourishing experience for me to know that I could make a difference in someone's life.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Gail, I wonder if you just would share with us a little bit about what you're up to now, what you like to offer inside of your practice, and anything that folks watching should know that's coming up.
I think my practice has two parts to it. The offering Reiki sessions to individuals and helping them get in touch with their energy bodies and knowing that there's another way to heal other than perhaps the medical route that they were taking or any other type of treatment, that this ability to tap into energy and Reiki healing is available to them, and it can make a really big difference in their mental emotional state as well as any physical symptoms they may have. And often when people realize that this is a possibility in their own lives, they are encouraged to go on to take class with me. And so that's the other part. I hold Reiki meditation sessions online every month, and I also teach classes every month. In fact, this Sunday I'm teaching a Reiki 1 class, and next week I'm teaching the Reiki Master class. So
beautiful.
It is.
Yeah, we will share any links that you would like us to down below for folks who want to follow up with you, learn a little bit more about your work. And I wonder if there's any just final word you'd like to leave us with as we close.
I think that people, if they're looking for Reiki, can know that they'll find a safe, compassionate place with me. And all of my classes and sessions are described on my website, which is joyfullivingreiki.com. So I'd love to hear from anyone who's interested in learning more about Holy Fire Reiki.
Beautiful. All right. Well, thank you so much, Gail, for joining us, just sharing a little bit of your story. I know there's so much more that any one of our stories could contain. It's always a joy to see what comes up for folks as we're in conversation. And I hope that there has been some pieces of nourishment for those watching at home or listening. And we look forward to being with all of you again next time we share an episode. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.